Greetings Midcoast Ukers, Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new ukulele tutorial. I'd like to go over a really easy song today called Will the Circle Be Unbroken. A lot of you probably have heard it. It's an old time tune, American folk tune, comes from the South. And basically, we know it from the Carter family. That's probably the most famous version, is the one the Carter family did way back. Johnny Cash, of course, being married to June Carter Cash. He did a version of it too. Probably learned it directly from the Carter family. And then Nitty Gritty Dirt Band did a great version of it too. They had a whole album called Will the Circle Be Unbroken, where they had a lot of bluegrass musicians as guest stars. You might want to check out that album. It's a real classic. And lots of other people have done this song. So let's dive into it. We're going to do it in G. That's just one half step away from where the Carter family sang it. They did it in G sharp. But just to match their voices and to hit those harmonies that they have. But we're just going to take it one half step lower, one fret lower than the Carter family, and do it in G. And that puts it in a really ukulele friendly place. So here are the chords you need. It's not a whole lot of them, but you're going to need a G chord. You're going to need a G7. You're going to need a C. You'll need an E minor. And finally a D7. So G, G7, C, E minor, D7. And that's it. So that makes life simple. This is the kind of tune you want to not fancy up too much. You want to keep it fairly simple because it's mostly the words that and the meaning and the melody that have to come through. So be careful if you're strumming. Don't do too busy of a strum. And if you're picking, don't do too busy of a picking pattern, although we're going to talk about that in a second, about banjo rolls and that sort of thing, because this is a common tune to play in a bluegrass group where you have banjos. Alright, so let's get right into it. We have our first verse here, which goes, I was standing by my window on one cold and cloudy day when I saw the hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. So that is going to go over these chords. I was standing by my window on one cold and cloudy day when I saw that hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. Which of course leads into the chorus. It's always a short verse followed by a short chorus. Here's the chorus. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. So luckily, being kind of an old folk song, a spiritual, something that's supposed to be simple and of the people, the chords line up really neatly with the words, whereas in some tunes where it's more of a big band jazz song or something with a lot of rhythm, Latin stuff, syncopation, it doesn't always work out so neatly. But this song is real clear as far as that goes. I was standing, so on stand, I was standing, there's your G chord right there. So that lines up nicely. By my window is a G chord again. On one, and on one, that's our G7. It's only 2 beats of G, and then 2 beats of G7, by the way, in the second measure. So you have 4 beats of G. I was standing by my 2 more beats of G, but then 2 of G7. So be careful when you're reading the song sheet that you interpret that correctly. You see the chord G, and then a slash, meaning a second beat of G, or a second strum of G. And then you see G7 in parentheses. G7 is actually optional. Most people do it. But if you were doing the simplest version of this song, you wouldn't even leave G. You would stay on G and not mess with the G7. But I highly suggest you try to get in a G7 there. But the G7 is only for 2 beats. So you see the G7 in parentheses and then the slash. So 2 strums or 2 beats of G7. And then C is right on the cold. On one cold and cloudy day. And then on the word day, we're getting right on to G again. So everything lines up neatly. I won't go through the whole song that way. I think that would probably be a little tedious for you to listen to. But just know that these chords are going to happen in very predictable places, and you probably won't have any trouble following where the chords change and how many beats per chord. I think it'll all be fairly obvious. Why don't we just play through a verse and a chorus together just to see if we have the general idea, and then we'll get into specifics about strumming and picking. Here we go. So verse 1 and a chorus. 1, 2, 3. I was standing by my window on one cold and cloudy day when I saw that hearse a-rolling for to carry my mother away. Chorus. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. So that's pretty easy to run through. Just so you know, there's kind of a thematic similarity between this and Wayfaring Stranger and lots of other tunes too. So we do I'll Fly Away, and obviously that has a very similar theme too. So you don't have to look far for American folk songs that have this kind of theme of redemption and better end awaiting you than what you might be experiencing now. All right, and so let's get into how would you strum this thing. I like to think of the Carter family version as being more of a boom chick kind of feel. You can hear Mother Maybelle Carter on her guitar going like this. So again, just to review in case you're not familiar, boom chick is when you hit the 2 or so closest strings followed by the 2 or so further away strings. But it doesn't have to be exactly 2. Just kind of in general, the closer strings followed by the further strings. The strings on the top of your ukulele and the strings on the bottom of your ukulele. So you should get a sound similar to that. You can even single out that G string. You can do just the G string by itself and then strum the other 3. That gives you a great boom chick kind of sound. Obviously that might get a little boring, you know, boom chick for a whole 3 or 4 minutes, so you could throw in an up strum in there too. You could do the occasional boom chicka, which would be down, down, up, which is what I primarily do. That's probably my main strum in this song. You could even do boom chicka chicka chicka, which is down, down, up, down, up, down, up. That might be a little busy. I wouldn't do that for the whole song. If you were going to do that, I would just throw that in at key moments when you need to lift it up and build some excitement. But I wouldn't do that the whole time. That would just totally ruin things. It would make it too busy, too noisy, and so much detract from the singing and the meaning of the lyrics. So do that like once in a while for excitement, but don't do it the whole time. All right, so easy strum. Let's just do a verse together so we can get used to boom chick, boom chicka, or boom chicka chicka chicka, depending on what you want to do here. All right, here we go. I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day when I saw that hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. And then the same idea for the chorus, just different singing, but ukulele playing stays the same. All right, for you pickers, anybody out there that likes to do fingerstyle ukulele and is interested in picking, this is a perfect opportunity because this song oftentimes has banjos in it, and banjos tend to pick. They do strum sometimes, but banjo is known for its picking sound mostly. So one of the picking patterns that you could do is an extremely simple one. That's the one I call the straight down pattern. You pick the top string with your thumb. You pick the next string with your index. You pick the next string with your middle. And you pick the last string with your ring. So that's the G string, the C string, the E string, and the A string. In case you're at all confused about what I'm calling the first string and the last string. Alright, so that would give us this. G, C, E, A strings. Straight down. If you're doing that pattern, you're going to have to do it fairly fast. So it's really in the tempo we were playing the song in. It would be fairly difficult to keep up that that pattern at that pace. So that's the straight down pattern. It's very easy slow, but not so easy to do it fast. There's the every other pattern, which is actually a lot easier, and that goes like this. You hit the G string followed by the E string. You hit the C string followed by the A string. And that would be thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, or if you prefer, which I do, thumb, index, thumb, middle. That's my way that I like to do it. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. Every other string. A lot like a banjo. That's like a banjo roll. Banjo picking patterns are oftentimes referred to as banjo rolls. And so that's your perfect banjo roll to do on the ukulele. I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day. It just really works. Oh, that hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. Will the circle, etc. So I highly suggest that one, the every other pattern. It's very smooth, easy to play at a fast tempo, and very banjo-like. Straight down is good too, but you're going to have to work really hard to get that at speed. All right, I have one last picking pattern for you, and that would be this one. That's one I use a lot. I tend to lean into that one quite a lot in music that requires picking. That's known as Travis picking on the guitar, from Merle Travis, the great 50s country guy that invented that picking style that then was taken by Chet Atkins and took further, and Tommy Emmanuel today, and lots of people do Travis picking. So what that's about is you're pinching. You're doing two strings at the same time. It's G and A strings together, but then it's E and C strings after that. Then you have your A string by itself, and that was with your middle. After that, it is G string, E string, C string. The G string with your thumb, the E string with your index, and the C string with your thumb. So your thumb takes care of two different strings. It takes care of the G string and the C string. And that's a big feature of Travis picking, is your thumb traveling from string to string like that. Here it is. So that's the sound of Travis picking applied to this song. Alright, so let's try a verse using our new Travis picking pattern and see what happens. I was standing by my window on one cold and cloudy day. I saw a hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. Will the circle be unbroken, etc. So you're getting this going. One last strum for you, breaking away from picking here, and it's one I call the pluck flick flick, or just the pluck flick. It really depends on the context, but what that means is this. Our thumb plucks the G string. Our index finger flicks. We have our knuckles bent, and then we extend our knuckles. We flick our finger out to hit the other three strings. That is a lot like banjo flailing. When people strum on a banjo, strumming on the old banjo, that's called flailing, and this resembles that sound on the ukulele. This is a really good, appropriate strum for this style of music. It just totally fits the genre. And you can do just pluck flick. I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day. That'd be fine. That'd be nice accompaniment. Be careful though, because pluck flick tends to be a loud technique, even with this little tiny ukulele I'm playing today. my Ohana SK28 soprano ukulele, little tiny soprano. Even that can be a little loud if you do the pluck flick technique, so be careful. You might want to tone it back a little. I was standing, but if you let it rip, I was standing, it can drown out your singing and overload the microphones and just cause havoc out there. So be careful with the pluck flick. It's a loud strum, but that's good. When you need to be loud, well, now you have some tool to help you with that. And then finally, pluck flick flick is where you hit that top G string with your thumb, you do your flick like we were saying with your index, but then you come back with your index and do an up strum. So pluck, flick, flick. Very banjo-like, very old-timey. I was standing by my window on one cold and cloudy day, when I saw that hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. Let's do a chorus together. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. There you have it, Midcoast Ukers, a great old song that's simple, and we'll probably be jamming on this one soon, called May the Circle Be Unbroken. Alright, look for the song sheet. It's right on our website, and it's easy to read. It's a real great song. I think we're going to have fun with it. Alright, Midcoast Ukers, you take care. Bye-bye.